or the door lads.
Yeah.
And then like I do it with the rough areas as well. Most of the times when you do areas, people always say the same thing when you ask them what the rough area is.
Right.
They always go, "You're in it, mate." You're like,
Good one.
hey. Welcome to Do You Know What I Mean podcast. I'm James Kilverton. I'm one of your hosts, and this.
And I'm Liam Senior, co-host and producer.
There we go.
There we go.
How are you? All right.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. It's always a bit of a mad rush when we're getting set up, but I always feel a bit more calm once we're doing it.
Yeah, I've got you some nice coke there.
You have, yeah, thank you.
The right one.
Much needed.
It is. What I've been at the doctors. I've just been at the doctors get my bloods done.
Yeah.
But like the
Did you pass
doctors,
the test?
I think so. Do you know what? I had such a achy kidneys this week. I don't know, but I'm panicking. I don't know if it's a bad back or so. I'm on antibiotics for my kidneys now.
Yeah.
Because the doctor checked me. He was like, but doctors give me so much anxiety.
Yeah.
You know, I just feel like they're going to suddenly like strap me down to a chair and say,
Yeah.
"We need to remove your dick." Like, whoa. You know, just like, you know,
Yeah.
which has never happened.
No. Not yet.
Not
but-
yet, no. But then I said, I've had this pain in my. But I don't know if it's when I'm sleeping. I don't know if it's because it's happening more when I'm waking up. It's like
The position.
I don't know if it's from the gym because I started doing the gym. I haven't been back in the gym since. But
Yeah.
and then
Any boxing? Have you done any sparring or anything?
no sparring. I'm too old for that now. Nearly sparring today in the doctors. I'll tell you that in a bit. But yeah, so I just basically said, you've just basically described all the symptoms of a kidney infection. So I was like, cool, no problem. What do I do now then? Because there was nothing in my urine.
Right.
So he said, I'm just going to give you tablets for it anyway, and I want you to get your bloods done. And then I got booked straight in for blood appointments, got my bloods done today.
Spot on.
And when I was in there was like, because I walked in on the right time of my appointment.
Yeah.
Which I do it, like, to be honest, I do quite a lot. I'm quite, usually, with appointments, like with really important stuff, like doctors and that, I'm quite good with time. I am quite good with my time.
Yeah.
So I get there early. And I went in and when I was about to go through, there was I'll start it again, sorry. When I went into the doctors, I went in and as I sat there, my name got shouted. So like, "Mr. Kilverton?" I was like, "Yep." She went, "Oh, you haven't got your bloods with you?" She told like the rest of the doctors that I was in for my bloods tests, which isn't bad. At least it wasn't like,
Yeah.
"I haven't got your ball bag checker" or
Has that
something.
smell gone away?
Yeah. Ball bag checker? What's a ball bag checker? You haven't got your ball bag checker with
Yeah.
you? What's a ball bag checker?
That's Doris in the corner. She's the ball bag checker.
Just bringing a ball bag checker with me. But yes, I said, I went, "Oh, all right, no problem. You haven't got your blood sheets. You need to get it from behind the desk." And as I went to walk to the desk, I'm a smiley person, me.
Yeah.
Everyone I meet, I genuinely try to smile at.
Yeah.
Because I think it's infectious. Pass a smile on. And there was a woman, about 110-year-old. There was a woman, she was an older woman. She was staring at me. And so I was like, "Oh, I haven't got my bloods yet." I didn't cut in the queue or anything. I was like, "I haven't got my blood tests." And the woman from behind the reception was like, "Oh, sorry about that. Should I go and get them printed off for you now?" I was like, "Great." And I'd like, you know when you lean against the desk?
Yeah.
I turned around and this old lady was staring at me. But when I say staring at me, she was glaring, like, knows if she wanted to have a fight.
Yeah.
And so I done and she just carried on glaring at me. Like when Mike Tyson used to stare at his opponents from the other side of the ring, just staring at them. And like, to the point where she stared me out.
One of your shows, has she?
She stared me out. She stared me out. In my under my like in my head, in my brain, I'm going, "Fucking bitch." We're not saying anything.
You won.
And then she came at the and I realised why. She came at the front of the desk while I was still there. And the other lady on reception went, "Oh, can I help you?" And she was like, "Yes, I've been waiting here for over nearly an hour." So she said for over then nearly an hour. And I was like, "You know, make your mind up, love." So I'm listening. And she said, "And I've noticed a lot of people going in for blood tests." I thought,
all right.
taking out on me, are you? Yeah. I'm the fifth one in a row.
But it's
Now
your
you've
fault.
took it out on me. So she's like, well, I felt like saying, "Yeah, you're a bitch." So I was just listening like that, waiting for the heckle.
Yeah.
You know, like that, waiting for the heckle thing.
This young man swanned up to the desk.
Yeah,
He's straight in.
basically she was grassing on me basically for going in. And then she started saying, so the woman said, oh, what's your name? She gave her a name. What's your date of birth? It was like, 1784. I was like, fucking hell, you are old. And then, no, she gave her a date of birth. She was about 90.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then she was like, she said, the reason you haven't been called in is your appointment's next Wednesday. I was like, you're a week early, bitch. That's why everyone's...
How you like me now?
That's why everyone's came. Do you know what happened, though?
No.
She got entitlement.
Oh, God.
Yeah, she said, and then she changed the mannerisms. Oh, I wonder how that's happened. How that's happened is you read the form wrong, you stupid, dumb old bitch. Do you know what I mean? And in my head, I'm like, yeah. And then she went, I'll see if I can get you booked in. And she got booked in before me.
Special
so when I'm
treatment,
going down to the appointment room, I seen her walking in. I thought she was going to turn around and go like that. Like, yeah, I've got your numbers. I've got your number. Yeah. Not a number. I've got a number. I'm not going to go around.
I'm good, but I'm not that good.
Yeah. I mean, no, I won't say what I was going to say. Loads of thoughts going through my head.
Yeah.
I was just sat outside thinking, I've got a podcast to film. Did you not think about that when you were on the bus?
You don't know who I am. Yeah. I have to get her on as a guest. She could have come on.
I've got nothing against old people. I've got nothing against anyone, but as you know, sometimes I was parked up in Yarmai Street the other day. I watched an old woman, right? It sounds like I'm just totally against old women, but I watched an old woman she must have been in gear 1, parking the car up, just going, and I thought, it's going to blow up this.
Just smell the clutch.
Yeah, I was just thinking, fucking hell. I was like watching my video on my phone. I think it's going to blow up. This is going to get
someone should really help.
It's going to get me 1 million views. That's why people don't do anything to them or nice to people without getting the video camera out.
No. It's just like
what's the nicest thing you've done for someone recently? Tell me.
Oh, that's a great question. Not all, probably.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've
not really been out that much, to be fair. I'm a firm believer in chivalry and being a gentleman. I like to hold the door open for people. I don't mind someone going in front of me if they need to. I can't think about a specific that's...
That is my... I reckon that's... I know I always say this and people will probably start picking up on it, that I say that's the most annoying thing for me. But this is one of the most annoying things is people... Do you know when you do something nice for someone?
Yeah.
And you open a door for them and they don't say thank you. Yeah, but it really annoys me, and I know loads of people are gonna say, you say this about everything, but it does. What really, really knacks me is manners.
Yes.
If you let someone pass at a junction or something, and or you flash them through to come through in the car, or you hold the door for someone and they just don't thank you, they don't acknowledge. Oh, that's
rude. Manners maketh man.
Yeah.
Say.
Isn't that off that film, Kingsman?
Probably.
Kingsman.
Yeah, it's something one of my school teachers used to say. Manners cost nothing, manners maketh man.
Yeah, he says it on Kingsman, and then
good films. Then I enjoyed them.
Yeah, they are good films.
Yeah.
I went to see Whitney the other night.
Oh yeah, how was
not actually see Whitney.
No, that would have been challenging.
Been a bit weird, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to see. I forgot how much. I didn't forget, but I forgot how good of a singer she was because they used Whitney's tracks on it. They didn't. Right. The woman didn't sing herself. Who was playing Whitney, the character. She was good. She was a good actor, but it wasn't really like. If you weren't a Whitney fan, it'd be shit. But then I don't think you'd go and see it if you weren't a Whitney fan. My missus wanted to go and see it, so I pretended I didn't want to go and see it. I really did. Good. No. I thought that'd be cool, because I like my music. I love music. I do anyway. I like all types of music. I went to see the James Brown film. That was a good film. Obviously Johnny Cash film, Walk the Line and all that. But then
what a movie! Great
movie. But the Whitney movie, it was good, but it was sad as well.
Yeah,
it was because. You just think someone can have that much talent and then be totally addicted to drugs and do you know that they portrayed Bobby Brown to be they didn't make him out to be a bad person because there's a scene in the spoiler alert there's a scene in the movie where Bobby Brown and Whitney are splitting up, and I always heard that Bobby Brown wasn't a very nice person,
abusive and stuff.
You see that in the papers. You don't know. I never ever, unless it's concrete, I never ever trust anything until I know the person or I can speak about it. That's why I don't pass comment on anyone unless they're a fucking serial killer or serial rapist or paedophile or something. Yeah, fuck them. But she goes to meet him in the bar, and surely this wouldn't have been put in if it wasn't half true. And she said,
I think so. Yeah, and must be some creative license, but it must be based on.
And she says something about the drugs or something, because obviously she'd been found out about taking a lot of drugs.
Yeah,
and she says to him, "Oh, it's not your fault, Bobby." Like that. And he said, "I wish you'd just tell the press that." You know, like obviously because it shows you early on in her life. You know,
right,
like
okay.
with her brothers and that. You know, having drugs and stuff. So
Yeah.
she must have been like quite heavily addicted from an early, but so talented
Yeah.
though.
And did people just think it was this
I think it. Yeah,
Bobby
the
fella
thing
who was
about
pushing it on her?
two can play that game.
All makes sense then.
Yeah. I know. But
You
yeah,
see how it happens though with famous people because they get all the limelight. As soon as you start making tons of money, you never have to spend any money because everyone just gives you stuff.
yeah.
If you're Whitney, imagine if you're like Beyonce now. I can imagine Beyonce is nothing like this. But if Beyonce said before a gig to one of her assistants, "I need some coke,"
Yeah.
I think she'll get it.
I get offered coke, and I'm not even famous. Like
Got a bump, lad.
I get offered.
Come to the toilets, mate. I'll have a key.
I get offered drugs all the time.
Yeah.
I do.
Fair play to you because you don't like. I know you're totally.
Yeah, I don't. But people think. I think people think because of my act on stage, where I talk about like fucking man, and I have that type of
Yeah.
accent, and I'm like, "You what, lads? Oh, you're all on the coke, I guess."
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "Oh, he loves it," and then after, like, "Oh, do you want a line?" I'm like, "Oh,
thanks.
not today, lads.
Gonna go watch the Whitney movie, lads.
I've got a wicked game of Sudoku. I'll go and play." Don't want my mind frazzled.
Yeah.
I
no performance enhancing drugs.
I went home from. I done the Forum before the theatre. I was opening, and so I was on at like 8 o'clock, and there was about 800 people there. And by the time I'd finished the gig, I was already back at home in bed. 'Cause it's only Billingham.
Yeah.
I was in bed at like 9 o'clock, like playing. What's a card game? Solitaire.
Solitaire
On my laptop.
Solitaire.
Like that. Thinking I've just been
Rock
I've just
and
been
roll.
talking to everyone about drugs and drinking and on stage.
This is what you find
They're looking
about the real James Kildington on this show.
Yeah.
It's exclusive. It's not.
Solitaire. I was like, oh, I'm doing really well. I'm getting far. But I do understand what you mean about like how. I think what it is as well is I think when you're that successful, like Whitney Houston's like the class is one of the greatest singers ever.
Oh yeah.
But I think when you're that big time, you can't judge anyone, can you? Unless you were that big time yourself.
Yeah,
You can't
I don't know.
you don't know what it's like. It must be like. I mean, I don't know. I watched a thing on Robbie Williams before, the singer,
Yeah.
and he said he used to go and play to like thousands and thousands of people, and like they'd be screaming his name, basically throwing the knickers at him, all the
Yeah.
women and that. Even some
You're
of the
going to
men.
be at the top. Like
He was at the
feeling amazing.
top level, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And then he said he'd go back to his hotel room and just cry his eyes out.
Yeah.
And then, funnily enough, a comedian you're going to see tonight, Bert Kreischer.
Bert Kreisler. Yeah.
What a guy, Bert Kreischer.
I was calling Bert Kreisler.
Yeah,
It's not. It's Kreischer, isn't it?
Yeah,
Bert
the
Kreisler.
machine.
Machine. Shall I take the top off?
Yeah. Bert Kreischer's on, and he's touring at the moment in the UK. One of Liam and my favourite comedians, along with like Tom Segura, them type of comics, great comics.
So good.
And I read an article today. It was only published on yesterday, on the 17th. I think it was published. Yeah.
Yeah.
About him, and he was talking about his massive panic attacks and his anxiety and how he feels the most comfortable when he's on stage. That's crazy, but I'm similar. I don't say I have panic attacks, but when I'm on stage, I do feel comfortable.
Yeah. You can always be nervous about how it's going to go, but it doesn't mean you're not out of your comfort zone. You're obviously somewhere where you're meant to be. But I think even with rock stars, pop stars, footballers, whatever it is, they're always pushed to that high all the time. Like you said, people screaming the name, they're getting to do what they want, what they've always wanted to do, getting tons of money. And I think there's a documentary or series about that. It's like When the Lights Go Out or something like that.
All right.
So it's like once everyone's gone home and everything's calmed down, it's that motion of starting your day off here, going up here, and then ended it down here. It's the yo-yo. I think that for a lot of people just makes you feel depressed. It just hits you, and I could understand that.
I definitely can understand, especially if you've got bad things going on in your life at the time. If you've got things going on at home, I know this from personal experience. If you've got like I'm not saying anything too serious, but if you're splitting up with someone or you've had a fallout with a family member, and there's stuff that you have to go on stage and be a different person.
If you've got an infected kidney.
Yep, infected kidney. That's it. You know,
crowd doesn't need to know. Don't give a shit. Dad's funny.
The thing with I've done it myself. You go on and you because I'll tell you how it works for me. So I'm driving to a gig. If I'm nervous about a gig, I'm only nervous until I get to the gig and if I haven't been to the gig before.
Right.
So 9 times out of 10, if I know the gig, if I've been and done this theatre or I've done this venue or I've done this comedy club, and I know how the setup is, I'm not as nervous. So like, even though I still know if I'm trying new material, there's a bit of nerves there. You should always have a bit of nerves. Eddie Murphy says, if you're not nervous, then you're not on your. It's the same with boxing or anything, I suppose. it gives you that edge, you know, of being on your toes, not too nervous, but being able to control it.
It's not being overconfident. Maybe you're thinking, if I don't concentrate, I might make mistakes.
That's just passion, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're passionate about something, you're going to be a little bit nervous. But
Yeah.
mine's always a must before I get to the venue, and then when I get to the venue, I settle. So once I'm comfortable.
Yeah. Is that a worry about being late? There being a car accident, you don't turn
just
up.
getting there and getting sort of like settled. And
Yeah.
also, if people come in like before I'm about to go on, I'm never ignorant to anyone. I talk to them, but then I suddenly, if I'll always talk to people.
Yeah.
But if people are in the dressing room, eventually, sometimes people will talk to you. I've literally been having conversations with people 45 seconds before I went on stage.
Yeah.
But like, especially if I know my set, but then I'm like, right, just give me these 30 seconds just to get into my head now.
Yeah.
I always say that to someone. I say, I'm going on now, so I'm just gonna go on quickly, and I can hear the MC and going, ladies and gentlemen, the next person. Or the music's came on. I'm like, right, I'm going on. But when I'm trying new stuff, I'm nothing like that. If I'm trying all new stuff, I'm literally going over, thinking about it. How am I going to say this? Am I going to open with that? I'm going to do this. Am I going to do that bit? And then I'll go, right, try it. I'll try it. And then I'll go onto stage, and as I'm walking on the stage, it's like, oh, it's all gone. It's all gone. What am I doing? Someone's heckling me.
Fuck off, you cunt. Right, there we go.
Yeah, it's changed.
There goes the name.
And that's the most annoying as well, when you want to try something new, and like you've got a rowdy crowd, and they're just or a crowd that aren't going to listen to material. You've got to do different crowds. Some listen to material, some aren't going to listen to material. And there's nothing worse than coming off stage and thinking, oh shit, I was meant to try that.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the whole reason I was here.
Yeah, you can't even run back on it. But, sorry guys, before I go.
Yeah. He doesn't even fit into the set.
Yeah.
The worst is when sometimes I've got material that I want to put into my set, and then because you've missed the spot of where you'd put it in, because it wouldn't work if you put it in towards the end. Because we'd be like, why is he going back to his kids again?
Yeah.
We've already spoke about his kids ages ago.
It's not like a musician where you can swap a few tracks around.
Yeah,
they have to flow, don't they, I guess. So.
Has to all come together, definitely. And obviously it just wouldn't sound right if you were like doing a joke about, I don't know, your kids walking in on you when you're in the shower.
Yeah.
Then you start talking about a nightclub life later on, and you're talking about going out nightclubbing. Yeah. And then you're like, anyway, my kids. Yeah. And you're like, well, when you're talking about
tea the night,
it just won't make sense at all, would it?
Yeah. No, you're right. So do you have that in mind when you're writing a joke? Do you think I want to try and get something that fits in here? Or do you come up with a concept for a joke, think this is going to work, where can I put it?
Yeah, I think when... I just picked a drink up there and didn't even take a drink. Someone's just said, if you've got that in, just see me pick a drink up and put it back. I think when you're writing a joke, for me, it's so basically what I've started to do now is I've started taking my career a lot more serious. Yeah, which I spoke to you about. I said this year is going to be like they always say I'm using boxing as an example because I know boxing. Like so they say like a good boxer, a talented boxer. A talent will always like do well. Yeah, but like a talented boxer who works hard and trains will do better. But then they also say hard work beats talent that doesn't work hard. Yeah, and that's
Sir Alex Ferguson quote there, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like, and it's so true. Yeah, and you can get so complacent. So for instance, when I first got on the tour stuff with Frank, when I was first starting off, and I knew it was going to be rowdy crowds, and like because I knew at the time I want to learn, I want to play to them crowds, I want to be able to. I was thinking, what's my material going to be like? So I was going in the library. When I got the green light to go on his shows, I was going in the library and writing every day. And I wrote basically like a new 20 minutes in a week or something.
That's amazing.
And then I done that but then I continued to do it and continue to do it. And it gets a bit complacent after a while. You're like, it works for that crowd, but would that work in a comedy club crowd? So then not long ago, it was my missus as well who told me, people like yourself, well, what you doing? It's when people like you ask me, what's happening with this tour? Are you touring? And I thought, oh shit, once I've put a show on, it's like, right, I've got to... So I done this show in Billingham a year and a half ago. There's going to be repeat customers. Yeah. I don't want them to come and say, oh, he's done that material. So I'm literally now in the library. I'm doing like about 5 times a week I'm trying to get in. I mean, I know you offered us the office, but... I know I'd just get...
Gaz and Ivy, doing your head in.
It just wouldn't help. No, it'd be me doing your head in. Do you think this joke works? You'd be like, oh, fucking hell, why did I give him the key? Can't he go back to the library?
Yeah. I'll just come in and go...
Do you know the best... Yeah, the best thing about it was... I know I'm going off on the subject here, but it's the same... When I started going to the library, when Corinne went to pick Jude up from school, he's only 4-year-old, he was like, oh, where's Daddy? Where's James? I was like... It's like, oh... he's doing work. He's at work. He's like, oh, is he? Sure. He's doing work in the library. He went, well, that'll be a hard show. He went, they'll just be telling him to go, shh, all of it, every time he tells a joke. And I was like, that's quite a funny joke for a 4-year-old.
He's got it. That's good.
Like, he's being serious. And like, so when I came in, I was like, he was like, how was work? Like, he's like, you been to work? I was like, yeah. He was like, what? I was like, a bit hard. Like I said, every time I told a joke, they went, shh. And he was like, yeah, I thought they would.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the reason I've done that is because I thought, I was speaking to, funny enough, another comic messaged me the other day about it, because she's writing her show.
Yeah.
Another well-known comic. And she was saying, like, I said the same to her. I said, I've started to write now every day. I'm in the library. I said, I've had to go to the library, because if I sit in the house, my head will be like, I've got muffins in the cupboard.
Yeah. Get the kettle on.
Yeah, go and get the kettle on and be lazy. Whereas if I come here, you'll be next door. Mm-hmm. Dad, this would be all right now and again to come in and pass ideas off you. But if I go to a library, I don't know.
Spare desk over there?
9 times out of 10, I don't know anyone in a library.
Yeah.
I hope. You know what I mean?
More than that, I would have thought,
Yeah, every time I haven't seen anyone I know yet. Yeah. Unless people start coming to the library because I'm so famous after this interview.
Eyes over the books.
Yeah, but the thing, do you know what's really cool about it? When I sat down, you'll find this is a bit cheesy, but when I sat down, I thought, this is nice, this desk. As I looked up, the first thing I looked at was a book of Bob Mortimer.
Oh, really?
From Teesside.
Yeah,
I was like, hi, Bob.
That's a good sign.
I was like, cool, that's cool. Like he's just staring right at me. And then I just start writing. So then I started writing, and
you chose wisely, James.
Yeah. That wasn't a Cosby impression, was it?
No, Chief Wiggum.
So when I started doing the writing, what I found is the best way for me to write is just write what's on my mind. So many people think, I need to think of something funny. Mm-hmm. Don't need to think of something funny. Yeah. Just write what's on your mind, and it'll come.
Go through it and see, right, that's good. That's
like, I don't know, for example, if I'd have brought my notepad with me there, I'd have showed you. Like but I wrote some stuff the other day. I was in there for about an hour. I wrote about 10 pages, about 10, 11 pages of stuff. Because I found now if I write it, then the stuff that I find good,
right,
I'll edit, put it on a laptop, but I'll be talking it out as I'm doing it. So I write it out, type it out, and then do it. But then there's some stuff sometimes I'll come and test it on Corinne when I get in. And some of it will be shite. Some of it will be shite. Yeah. Like, I'll be like, do you think this is fun? But I'll realise, as I'm telling it, I'll think, I've wrote that down there and it's crap. Yeah. But then sometimes, for example, I went in the other day, and this is why it's obviously true. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. This is why it's true, and I know it is, because I've just wrote, I reckon, the best 5-minute joke of my whole time doing comedy yet.
That's good.
The other day, and I walked into the library, and I know it's good. Like, without being big-headed, I know how good it is, and I know because I tested it on Corinne. She was laughing out loud when I was reading it without any, like, action to it.
Yeah. And even, I think, like, if you're telling a joke off cuff, no setup in the kitchen, it's not the same as being on stage. So if you're getting Corinne to laugh there,
of course it is. And I know it'll work, and I know she'd just say, no, shit that, if it wasn't. Yeah. And then I rang another comedian, told him about it. I know he's a well-established comedian as well, and he was like, it's good. He was like, genius that, and I was like, yeah, I'm a genius. And he's like, how did you think of that one? It wasn't, and all it was a trip to the doctors.
Yeah,
the same thing we've been talking about earlier. Yeah. The doctor said one thing, and he said one thing, and I said something back to him, and we both started laughing.
Yeah,
and when he walked out, I typed it in my phone. I thought that was funny that.
Yeah,
and then so when I got to my notepad later on, I thought, what am I going to talk about today? I thought I've been to the doctors, so I started writing out exactly what happened. And then I just started growing arms and legs to it, and it just became miles funnier. Like, just became like really good.
At what point do you go, that is finished now, that I can do that? Or do you leave it and think, I'm going to come back to it, maybe add a bit, play a bit, take a bit out?
Depends. At the end, I think we spoke about this before. There's a comic I know before. Don't want to spoil his joke. Raoul Coley was telling me about a Newcastle comic. Yeah. And he was telling me about a joke he'd done before, and I think it was about 10 months. He said he had this joke and didn't have the punchline for it for ages.
Yes, I remember saying that, yeah.
And then he said, like, one night he was performing, I don't know if he was doing, like, Frog and Bucket Comedy Club or something like that, and he said it would have been the Stand or something, and he said he was doing this joke. He said, and then suddenly just, the punchline just came to his head while he was on stage, and he'd done it, brought the house down, and that was his joke then. I've done that myself with a few jokes where I thought, or I've added to a joke without meaning to add to
Yeah.
it. You know, when I've been on stage,
Yeah.
something's just came to me, like, and it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
it's funny that. But
You
and
might
it's-
change how you like deliver it a bit.
And if you
it's not-
videoed your set and you've recorded it, then you
Yeah.
can see, can't you? You pick it apart and think,
Yeah.
well, that worked. You know, I think the best way to do comedy and to make someone laugh is surprise.
Right.
So if the punchline finishes with someone being like, didn't expect that, huh?
Yeah. Is that
but
a
I
misdirection
understand.
or-
Yeah, like Miss Guy. Like I didn't expect that, but it's still funny. Or
Yeah.
and it's got to be really relevant. It's got to be understandable. So there's a lot of comedians do it, and don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing as well. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of comedians can only suit one audience, where you've got to be really, really switched on and intelligent.
Right.
I do some jokes that would not work in certain crowds, and you have to be like paying attention to
Yeah.
get the full joke. But sometimes you can be too clever with your comedy, maybe.
Yeah.
And you're watching it and you're like, is this a fucking science lesson or is it a comedy show?
Does that differ from venue as well? If you know that you're somewhere that perhaps is, perhaps a more affluent area or a highbrow crowd, or you might tweak things so that it goes down better there.
definitely.
I'm not saying that. They're like that.
Definitely, if you're
Yeah.
going to a sportsman's dinner
Yeah.
and they're all Gaza fans and you're all, Paul Gascoigne's doing the dinner talk, he's funny, he's cheeky, he's working class.
Yeah.
90% of your audience are going to be working class.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily just for Gaza, because Gaza's like a favourite for a lot of people.
Yeah.
They're all going to be footy fans.
Yeah.
Only having a drink. They're all going to be watching.
They're here to see that Gaza humour, aren't they?
Yeah, daft stories.
Yeah.
Do you know, you come out there and start going, you know what? I was in Greg's the other day, and the way they make them paninis, people are going to be like, who the fuck's this guy? Do you know, like,
I went into my local Pret a Manger.
yeah, they're not going to get it. They're going to be like, oh, but, whoa, burp.
So the gassy liquid you're bringing in.
Dr. Pepper. Just burnt my kidney out.
You could.
But yeah, but if you go to certain audiences and you do like clever material, it'll work in certain clubs, but then some places it'll go.
Yeah.
I was working with a comic once, and before I went on stage, he went, "They're not going to listen to your material here." And I was like, "What?" And he was a very
Been
experienced.
practicing all week. What's going on?
He was very experienced comic. And I was like, all right, and I was only new. He's like, just slag him. I was like, what? He's like, you're only doing 10 minutes or something. He went, just slag him. Slag him. He went, not nasty. He said, just go at them though. Take the piss out the claws. He said, this crowd are not going to listen to material. So I thought, I'll prove you wrong. You know. And I went on stage, started doing material, it was getting nothing. And someone said something, I went, who the fuck cut your hair? And the whole place erupted. And I was like, fuck. And then I started
Just looked aside stage and wink.
yeah, I started talking. And I was like, fucking hell. I'm like, where'd you get your clothes and all this? And it was just like shit crack that I was coming out with. But
Yeah.
they were all like, "Wah,
Go on.
fucking I'm like, all right, chill out. Yeah, so like, but sometimes that can piss me off because I finish and I'm like, wrote loads of clever stuff there, and then like you're like, okay, call my mate. Yeah, that one as well. Oh, my mate's in the crowd. I'll be about to go on stage and I'll get a message on my comedy page, and it'll say, "Can't wait to see you tonight, mate." Rip my mate, he's in the red top. His name's Gary, and he's his 52nd birthday. tell him that, dude, my mate's 52-year-old, he's called Gary, he's in a red top, and tell him that he shags sheep. You're like, yeah, no problem. You just like put a crying laughing face and put, will do. And I think that's all they want you to do.
Yeah.
There was one I'd done a show before in I think it was Grimsby or Cleethorpes, and this lad came up to me before the show, and he near the green room. He's like, "You a comedian, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Huh, rip my mate." I was like, "All right." I said, "Yeah, I'll be doing my." I said, "Where are you sat?" And I was thinking, why am I asking? Because now he's expecting me to like rip him, and he's like, "Just at the back over there, checkered shirt, the lad over there. It's his birthday. He shagged my mum years ago." And I was like, I don't know if you get that. I was like, is that meant to be like, he shagged your mum? Like,
Why are you telling people?
yeah, like, why? Is that something to be proud of? Anyway, the gig was going all right, and then one of them heckled me, And I just said something like, "Oh, why the fuck? By the way," I said, just before I go any further, I said, "Did one of you shag someone's mum over it?" And I made it, and it was like, "Where?" And they were all carrying me out on my arms, like on their arms, you know, like that.
He did it.
He did it. I was like, I've survived another one. Yeah, but sometimes it's like it's you can like I say, you can overthink it too much.
Yeah.
Archie Kelly said to me off Phoenix Nights, the one who plays Kenny Dalglish on Phoenix Nights. He's a comic as well, a very good comic. And he said to me, I was coming home from Coventry one night and I rang him up and I was like, I said, I've done a gig there. I said, it was like, I was only doing 20 minutes. I said, but at the very end, I said, I'm from Middlesbrough. And at the time I didn't realise, I think Middlesbrough and Coventry had played or something, and Middlesbrough might have beat them. And they started booing. And I was like, and I said, they wouldn't let, I said, but they loved it. I said, but they wouldn't let me finish my last gag. I said, they kept going. I said, oh, fuck yous. And he was like, did they have a good time? I said, oh, yes. I've had loads of messages and people saying how good it was and how funny it was at the end. He went, well, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, but I wanted to do one. But he's like, yeah, but he said, you can't live like that, son.
Yeah.
He said, you can't just always have it your way.
No.
Like, listen, please, listen to me. It's the same as these comics that go on and they do something and it doesn't work in a room.
Yeah.
Like, they'll do a, like, I think it's better if you just say, well, that was shit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, like, because, like, you're agreeing with them then. It's just like, just be honest with yourself and say, I've done it before. I've said a joke before. I said, and that's why that was new material, because it's fucking shite. It's going in the bin. You know,
exclusive joke there for you guys. It won't be repeated.
yeah. Do you know, like, and people respect that more. I think you're insulting people if you go on stage and then you start going, that usually kills in every room. And people are like, all right, well, it didn't kill you, mate.
Obviously a bit too much for you guys.
Yeah. So that went over your head, is it? Yeah, not clever enough.
So I don't think there's many professions like comedy where, like, if you're a musician, like you said, you sit, you write songs, you might make an album, come up with a set list, you go out, you start, you finish. If you're a chef, you know your ingredients, you know what you're making, you produce it, it goes out to the restaurant. But with comedy, if you're a comic, you've got your gags, you've got your sort of a set, but that can just go completely out the window, and you can end up doing something completely different just because of how the crowd's been.
Yeah, definitely.
And there can't be many professions that's like that.
Yeah, definitely. You're right. Like, you wouldn't see a guy saying, "I'm going to make your pizza different today."
Yeah.
Pizza just comes out totally
You go and see
different.
Michael Jackson's like, I'm actually just going to do James Brown today, actually. Just fancy a bit of James Brown.
That wasn't your Michael Jackson impression. Can you do it in a Michael Jackson?
Yeah, I can do it. I don't sound like Mickey Mouse. Hey guys, turns out I'm going to be doing some different songs today. That's definitely Mickey Mouse. That
Sound like that paedophile of Family Guy.
yeah. Come on, Jesse.
He got him right. That was a good impression for you. Well done. That was a good one. That one. I like that one.
I used to watch a lot of Family Guy.
Family Guy is so funny. Family Guy is so funny. Family Guy is so funny.
It is.
I keep laughing, like, because it's on my like FYP at the moment, you know, because I keep going down and seeing every Family Guy video. It's so funny, but like it's just funny, innit?
It's all on Disney Plus, I think, now as well. If you go on to the non-kids bit, because I haven't realised, like, I loved Family Guy. I've watched it all, and then didn't realise there's been like three more seasons, and I haven't watched any of them. So that's always good.
Yeah, what do you think? Like American sense of humor. Like you say, I didn't used to watch much American comedy until I started watching like Segura. Obviously, I say that. I used to watch like Richard Pryor, Chris Rock, like
your big hitters, like
yeah. And then now I watch a lot of like Segura, Bert Kreischer, Joe Rogan, like Theo Von. So I do watch a lot of American comedy more now.
Yeah, I do as well. I think because there's a bigger. There's a lot more content on things like YouTube, where the American comics are putting loads out, and YouTube algorithms and stuff. If you're watching certain comics, you'll get it depends on the time of day as well. When I pop into my office on a night, just tons of stand up on my YouTube, because they know that's kind of probably what I'm going to stick on. Yeah. And I get a lot of I follow Dry Bar Comedy, which is like an alcohol-free bar in Utah.
Yeah.
But they put full sets on from random comics that are just touring the US all the time, and it's good quality, like filmed and recorded.
Yeah,
so I get to see quite a lot of like random American comics, and I think my style of humor probably now leans more towards that way. Like,
you need to write to Bert Kreischer now. You need to email him and tell him that you want him to try your beer. Send him some samples.
That's it. I could take some down with us.
Yeah, go and see him. Bring some samples down with you tonight.
Take a big bottle of rum,
and then just stand near the entrance of the door.
Yeah.
The theatre entrance.
Yeah, good shot.
Is that Manchester O2 tonight? Is that the O2?
It's
stand near the stage door with your beer.
Yeah, what's it called?
Like a lunatic.
Time. It used to be called Manchester. Is it not still called the Apollo?
Yeah, the
Manchester
Apollo.
Yeah, yeah. So I went to the School of Sound Recording. It's like opposite.
Yeah,
I don't know, a few places to park and a few routes to take. But fucking hell, you won't be hanging around that stage door too long. It's rough as around there. It's fucking horrible.
Stand there with your top off.
Yeah.
Might get some work.
Might bring me on to warm up. And I'll be the guy then who's like, so guys.
So guys, I went to Nando's the other day. I think a lot of English comedy though as well. It's very not every single one. There's a lot of good comics in Britain. But there's a lot of comics as well who are very geeky.
Yeah.
The Americans don't seem to be geeky.
No.
The odd few, but they seem to be like a bit more like, I don't know. Like when I watch British comedy, you don't get many from like the hood.
No.
Whereas you look at like a lot of the American comics, a lot of them are from like rough neighborhoods when they're growing up.
Yeah.
You know, like and then they work the clubs. They work the clubs before they do like the.
Yeah.
Whereas over here, it's like, I feel like a lot of comics are giving it quite easy at the start. That's why I wanted to do them Frankie gigs at first, because I wanted to be able to work the real people. Like, not the real people, because everyone's real people in it. I like the middle class, the working class. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you're performing to. But you should be able to appeal to all audiences.
Yeah. Is that like being a plasterer, though? Like you're a time-served comedian? Like, you've done the gigs, you've done the tours, and that kind of gives you that authenticity or credibility, maybe.
I've seen some comics who have done just comedy clubs, come onto a gig like a working class club, like a social club.
Yeah.
And the bottles just fell out, before they went on stage. And I'm like, why is your bottle fall? Just do what you do at the comedy club and you'll get laughs. And then but then they'll maybe say something like what I've just said there. They'll do a joke and I'll go, usually kills that one. And then people are like, fuck off, mate.
Yeah.
And then I think you've got to be able to do all rooms.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be the best, you've got to be able to do all rooms. And that's my plan, to be the best.
Be the best. Yeah.
To be the best.
Yeah, if you can't adapt to something like that, how are you going to adapt to the next level?
Of course. Like, how could you do, like, if you... And also, you've got to... everyone's different, I suppose. Everyone is different. I can't speak for anyone else, but my sort of style of comedy, I want to be able to perform to working class, middle class, the poshest of the posh, and then the fucking drugs.
Something for everyone. Yeah.
You know what I mean? A bit of fucking tongue in cheek for everyone.
What's your favourite venue you've ever played?
Favourite venue I've ever played?
Yeah. Or favourite crowd, or both? Which one?
I've so many to pick, but one of my favourite places I've played was Teesside's obviously a great area for me. I love Teesside. I love any gig in Teesside because it's so. And I think a lot of comics. So there's a lot of comics say they don't like playing their own area,
right?
Because they might know a lot of people in the crowd. It's different for me. I think it's good for me because I can use references. So you can use a lot of areas.
Yeah.
But there's loads of places. It's.
Would you do that with a place you're not from? Then would you look at the local references
definitely? But you got to make sure you. One thing I ever learned is you've got to make sure you definitely have said it right. You can't just look it up on Google because it might not be said like that.
What for example, if we go these Parmos, am I right?
Exactly. So if someone came over here and spoke about Redcar, Redcar, they wouldn't say red car.
Yeah.
On the stage. So I went to Redcar the other day, and I once watched a comic. Obviously, done his research a little bit wrong.
Yeah.
Come down and do a joke in Middlesbrough. He was on stage. He's a good comic as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't his fault, but he said, isn't it rough around? I tell you where you're from, somewhere like, and he's like, you'll be from Northallerton where it's really rough or something like that. And I was like, Northallerton's quite nice. You can't sing, and you picked the wrong area, mate. Because everyone was like quiet.
Do you mean North Ormsby?
They picked the wrong area.
Nothing wrong with anyone from North Ormsby, by the way. I'm just saying. You've confused you north.
Just get a load of slags, like loads of not slags. Loads of hate mail now. I was about to say. Doggy slags. Yeah, but you've got to know the area. You've got to know the right slang for that area. So if you were saying something
like,
yeah, of course you have. But if you said if you said a certain area and you pronounce it wrong, you fucked the joke, haven't you?
Yeah.
Say they used an area in Middlesbrough. Like, I'm trying to think of somewhere where we could say we were saying somewhere like Yarm was posh.
Yeah.
We were saying Yarm was posh. But if you can't really get Yarm wrong, can you? You can't say Yarm wrong, can you?
No.
You couldn't say Yarm wrong. I'm trying to think of posh areas. Name some posh areas. Wynyard.
Great Ayton.
Wynyard's the one because the
Yeah.
way it's spelt.
Yeah.
So if you
Wynyard.
looked it up, if you came to do comedy in Teesside, you're from out the area and you thought, I need a posh area, and you said posh area is Teesside and Wynyard comes up,
Yeah.
and you've read it wrong. So when you go on stage, if you go, what? So I was going down Wynard the other day, people would be like, what's Wynard? And you've ruined the joke.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
'Cause no one's listening now. They're all thinking, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. Oh, it's not as. Oh, he must be from Wynard, is he? Do you know, you'd be in the crowd thinking,
Yeah.
what's he on
Big
about?
Wynard man over here.
What's Wynard? What's Wynard? You know.
Yeah. I
So
see
you've
what you mean.
definitely got to know. So what I do now is I go to venues and I'll definitely check the name of the place a few times.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll say I went up to you and I said, say it was around here, and I said, oh, what's a posh area around here? And you said Wynyard. And I said, is it Wynyard? And you were like, Wynyard, yeah, Wynyard's a nice area.
Yeah.
And then I'd go up to other people
Right.
without, not because I don't
It's a
trust the
fact check.
person,
Yeah.
and I'd just be like, what's the posh area called? Is it Wynyard? And I'd know by their reaction.
Yeah.
And they'd go, yeah, and I've done it before. Like, say I went over and said, what's the posh area? Is it Wynard or something? They'd be like,
Yeah.
Wynyard, you mean? Wynyard. I'd be like, oh, yeah, Wynyard.
Wynyard,
So then I'd go up to someone else, and then
Right.
I'd say, it's a posh area in Wynyard. You know, like the bar staff or the
Yeah.
door lads.
Yeah.
And then, like, I do it with the rough areas as well. Most of the times when you do areas, people always say the same thing when you ask them what the rough area is.
Right.
They always go, you're in it, mate. You're like,
Good one.
hey. You're in it, mate.
Like that guy who showed me, is he on TikTok
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Reels?
That's the thing.
No sugar. Sweet enough.
Yeah, that's what they're like, aren't they? You're in it. That's what they had David Brent's them, aren't they?
Yeah.
What's the posh area? What's the rough area around here, mate? You're in it, mate.
Take a look around.
Haven't you noticed? And then they'll go, nah, it's so-and-so. I'm from there. It's like, all right. What was the fucking... Yeah.
That's mint. I can completely picture this, like someone saying that to you as well.
I've had people fucking coming up to me at shows, or like we were talking earlier on about it, like, and genuinely come up to me after and go, it was fucking brilliant, that set, son. I was like, oh, nice one. They're like, do you want a line? I'm like,
What?
I'm like, well, you got my set wrong. That's not me. I might start talking like this off
Yeah.
stage, you know, when I come off.
Yeah.
I might start talking like this, you know.
Yeah. Like, is it Omar Jalili? Have you ever seen anything he's done?
Yeah.
He'll come on being really Iranian, and at the end he's like, that's my Iranian bit done, so I can't actually talk.
Sacha Baron Cohen,
Yeah.
he done that when he got an award years ago, didn't he? I'd like to say thank you for you know, after he's done Ali
Yeah.
G.
Yeah.
Ali G, what a show.
That was like ahead of its time, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, he was class. Like, is he banned still from Kazakhstan? Is it not Kazakhstan?
I think he will be. Yeah.
Kazakhstan.
They fucking hate him. So. Have you seen that? I think it was that Olympic gymnast. They did like a set and she won the gold medal and she's on the podium and they accidentally played the Borat version of the Kazakhstan national anthem.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's like, Kazakhstan is full of prostitutes.
Is it?
She's there with some flowers like, the fuck? Let me see if I can find it.
Is that true? Yeah. Or is it like, it's not fake news, is it? Or is it real news? There you go.
Kazakhstan.
I wasn't going to help you there.
Oh, I hate ones like this. I just want to watch the clip.
Kazakhstan's real anthem during a sharpshooter's gold medal ceremony. Are you kidding?
She's just like,
My God. Away. And
that's about Kazakhstan prostitutes. It's like-
Why,
so yeah, I don't think they're a fan of Al Sasha.
why haven't I seen that before?
She's like
How
grafted
long
on.
has that been used?
Her whole life she's been doing that. That's 10 years ago, that.
10 years ago and I
Yeah.
haven't seen it.
No.
Fucking
Imagine
hell.
grafting your life and getting a gold medal or whatever medal it is. And then the
Oh, that's
fucking thing.
devastating, isn't it?
I bet they did it on purpose.
Actually, do you know when I watched it, I found it really funny, but I felt sorry for her as well. I was like, you won a gold medal. How hard it is to win a gold medal.
Yeah.
You've trained your whole life. And then play that. Just degrading women.
Yeah. She does well, to be fair. She keeps a straight face, doesn't she?
Speaking.
apologize to the team
Look
from
at her. You
Kazakhstan.
can tell she's pissed off, but she's not.
Oh,
making a
she's
scene.
raging.
I guess that woman was very gracious.
It's nice. Why? Who was that?
Why not? Yak your mash.
I genuinely thought as well when I first watched the Borat film, you know, the Pamela Anderson bit when he tries to kidnap her at the end.
Yeah.
Is that true?
He didn't think that was Joe long ago with Borat.
Well, it was probably 10 years ago, probably, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I had it on DVD.
Yeah, I had it on DVD as
Yeah,
well.
it was good.
Speaking of degrading women, Andrew Tate.
Oh, fuck, name again. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Andrew Tate?
It just feels like he's just been given a bit of airtime and he's running with it.
Well, Andrew Tate, do you know what? I see all these videos of him. Andrew Tate reminds me a little bit of Donald Trump. Do you know, like, every time like he comes on like the news or like he comes on a video on Facebook.
Yeah.
Because I just click play now when I see him. Because he's interesting. He's clickbait. Andrew Tate is clickbait. I'll click on it and he'll start talking. He starts talking about training and mental health and all that.
Yeah, he's like, all right, okay.
And I'm like, oh, this guy speaks sense, you know?
Yeah.
And then he's like, and fucking women.
Unless you've got a pussy.
And you're like, what? And you're like, you've just killed everything you've just said. Do you know, like that'd be like inviting Donald Trump over, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
For tea.
Yeah.
And like you're like impressed. He's
I
like,
love podcasts. I've been on the best podcast. This is
and then he's like saying loads of good stuff. Like, and then he says, grab him by the pussy.
yeah.
You're like, this guy's a fucking legend. Donald Trump.
Everything else that was accurate said,
So he just does that with his hands all the time. Someone's putting an accordion in with it. So funny.
I think if you did have something, you would release it. I would be glad to release it. I don't want to take advantage of something. I have something that others don't have. I don't
How come every time...
but I would be able to do that.
Okay, sorry.
fucking hell.
Do that. If we wanted
How come every time Trump's on, like, every time Donald Trump's on, like, if do you know, like, Trump's like the type of person, isn't he? You know, like when you're in a bar with your mates, or and someone like awkward walks in, and you're like, it's gonna get serious now. This,
Yeah, like, oh, for yeah.
I mean, like, all right, Donny,
Yeah.
all right, mate. And he's like, yeah. Oh, didn't expect these guys to be in here. What guys? You know.
Skin.
Yeah. Like,
We need to build a wall around the
Yeah.
venue.
I haven't heard much from Donald Trump lately.
I've had a few bits crop up because I think he genuinely is still planning on standing for president again.
Yeah.
'Cause he's the first president, isn't he, to not get a second term since someone ages ago. So I think he's still thinks he was robbed and wants another go.
It's just crazy, isn't it? Though,
Yeah.
like I don't have much say on politics or anything like that, or I don't know anything about it. I genuinely don't, especially the American.
Yeah. I think
Side
you've
as
got
well.
like blue and red, which is your left and right. Your liberals would probably be more linked to like your Labour voters, and then your Democrats are probably
I was like,
so conservative.
I'd have just voted for him because he was in the WWF.
Yeah.
Didn't he get stunned?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Stone Cold
He sold
stunned.
it well, to be fair. He did all right.
He done a better reaction than some of the wrestlers do, you know, when they get Stone Cold stunned.
Imagine if I was Stone Cold, I'd probably give him a good kick when
Didn't
I
he
did
shave Vince McMahon's hair as well?
I can't remember that.
Yeah,
I remember the stunner.
Yeah,
What a guy.
Donald Trump.
Home Alone 2. Didn't he? Yeah.
And then like Boris Johnson, he's done things mad, hasn't he, as well? Like football games where he's like rugby tackle people and all that.
Well, that zip line as well. He
Yeah,
gets
yeah.
put over him, he's like, yeah, he's just a bit of a pleb. Is pleb a politically correct word? I don't know.
I don't know.
He's just a bit of an idiot, isn't he?
It's not. It's fine if you didn't mean it.
Yeah, he's like the younger cousin at like Christmas who's,
Which one?
I don't know, just in general.
No, which one though? Trump
yeah.
or Boris?
Oh no, Boris, sorry. Yeah, we were talking about Boris. Yeah, it's like everyone sat down nice and civilized. Like, oh, where's Boris? Oh, he's just chasing a donkey in the field behind there. He's like, oh, I'm gonna get it. He just does like stupid shit. Like you
Yeah,
could trust him, could you? He's just, I don't know. I don't think it matters who you vote for, does it? Because it's all the fucking same.
Oh yeah, it's fucking
Yeah.
mad, isn't it?
And same in America. Like Joe Biden, he's at the age now. He doesn't fall over. He has a fall, doesn't he?
He just sniffs people, doesn't he?
Does he?
He sniffs people's heads. He does. But Joe Biden's sniffing.
Joe Biden. His ice cream looks nice.
It's probably going to leave this bit out, aren't we?
Yeah. Just get the FBI. I've just started watching my laptop now.
It's Joe Biden.
Did you get in all right? Like ice
yeah,
warnings,
the
no
weather. The
travel.
weather's so. The weather in England's so unpredictable. Like last year, we had really hot weather, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah.
At one point, it was like really, really hot.
Yeah, it's like the hottest
31 and
day up since records
32
began or
degrees
something.
Celsius.
Yeah.
And then the other day I woke up, it was like, I got this stuff for my car, called like Demon Spray. It's like a
Like a de-icer or...
de-icer, yeah.
yeah,
They said put it on the night before you go to sleep.
yeah. On your
Not
face.
on me, not on my face. No, put it on your car. So I put it on about 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So I went out, sprayed the car. I was like, like one step ahead for the school
Yeah.
run. Do you know that? I woke up in the morning, it's like sheets of ice.
Like extra layers now.
Yeah, it was extra. I was like,
That's the demon.
I was like, no wonder there's a devil on the bottle. Yeah. But so I don't know if I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Anyone comment I've done it wrong and tell me what I'm doing wrong with it, because it said on the bottle, spray it on the car windscreen the night before
Yeah.
and watch your ice go away. Like, you know what I mean?
You just glued it on instead.
Yeah, fucking basically, yeah.
I know.
But I always put, and everyone will say, this is so wrong, you shouldn't be telling people to do this, but I always put lukewarm water.
I think lukewarm water's fine. It's if it's boiled water, if like you fill the kettle, boil it and pour it on, you're
Well,
gonna
who
crack
would do
into-
that? An
I'm sure people
idiot.
have done it from, I've done it before.
I seen a guy online doing it with a hammer,
Yeah.
opening his door with a hammer, going round it.
Then he,
No.
does he go through the window? I think I've seen.
No, I
one
don't
like
think he went through the window on this one. He was just like, but that was in like a country where it's like the snow's like so
Yeah.
deep, it's to your knees and
It's
that.
been like in Chicago at the moment. It's like minus 30 or something daft.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like people are getting stranded in the cars and dying in the cars. It's that cold.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I was -4 year. I bought this yesterday. Got this.
fleece.
Big fleece at home. This is a fleece as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
I got this yesterday as well. You know what I mean?
That's class.
It's nice, isn't it? It's comfy. And I got these rapist gloves.
Putin approved. Is it Putin approved? Nice. Everyone needs a set of them. You know, you never know when you're gonna need. You're gonna go out raping.
I started laughing because I put a picture on my Facebook yesterday of me. And it just said, ask me if I give a fuck. It was just like a picture of me wearing this
Oh,
type of gear. And my fingers just look huge, big sausage fingers.
I think gloves. I don't know if you wore them, but gloves like that. Because you've seen, I've got a similar pair. What reminds me? You've watched Luther.
Yeah.
Luther, you've got to trust me, Zoe. That was my
Was he gay?
chief. Yeah. I'm sure he had dodgy gloves.
Was some girl commented on yesterday on my my Facebook post on the picture of me with them on them gloves, and she said she commented on it, and I found it really funny actually.
She ripping you.
Yeah, she put I'll read the comment now. I actually went, this is the face I done. This is the face I done when I read it. Do you know that one? But then you put laugh in my ass, and that was actually really funny.
Yeah. So my mate used to put NE for nasal exhale. She's like,
She put, where are they? Where's the comment? I'm trying to find it. There we go. Seen them prosy throttlers.
prosy throttlers. That's mint. I'm using that.
Shout out to Jess, who called my gloves prosy throttlers.
Prosy throttlers. I like that. It's a term I'll keep. Look at that. Chicago.
What's this now? Oh, is
This
this
is the weather in Chicago.
Fucking hell, this podcast went really downhill. Hasn't it?
Yeah. Not only are we talking about the weather, but the weather's somewhere else.
Lots of people were tuning in like, why the fuck do I give a fuck about the weather in Chicago? You stupid pack of idiots.
Imagine that. Hey Alexa, what's the weather? Today in somewhere fucking far away. It's
Yeah. And people always go on about the weather, don't they, in different
Yeah.
areas. They always compare.
it doesn't matter who you are, where you are. The weather's there, isn't it?
Yeah, they compare though, don't they, different
Yeah.
areas.
Yeah. Well,
Nathan Caton does
everyone's always trying to be out cold someone.
Nathan Caton does a really, really good really good gag on it.
Yeah.
He talks about how people are saying using hot countries example.
Yeah.
I can't think of what hot country he uses.
Today it's going to be hotter than the Bahamas.
Yeah, that type of stuff. When people say that, and he said, "Do you think there's someone waking up in the Caribbean, going, fucking hell, England's hotter than us today?"
Yeah.
You know, but he says it a lot. He obviously wrote it out and structured it really good. Really funny joke, actually. You should tune into it, Nathan Caton. I'll find out. Off Nathan.
really well.
I'll put the link underneath. I'll get Nathan to put the link underneath anyway.
Yeah.
A good comic, very funny. But yeah, I found that bit really funny when he said about that, because so many people do that, and so many people when they're abroad as well, they go, especially British, they come back and tell you how cheap the alcohol is. That's all they do.
It's only £1.50 a pint.
Yeah, that's the first thing they say. Even if you don't. Have you ever got into a conversation with someone, right, but found yourself in a conversation with someone when you don't actually know much about what they're talking about?
Every time we do the podcast.
Yeah. No, like when someone would come to you and say something like that. Not, for example, they might say, like, I don't follow cricket.
Yeah.
I don't follow cricket at all. But then someone might, if I bump into someone, they talk to me and say, oh, did you see the Indian England game? Or the Pakistan England game? And I'm like, huh. And I've briefly heard about it.
Yeah.
And I'll be like,
oh yeah, good result.
oh, yeah. Seeing it was like some result, wasn't it? And I'll be like, yeah. And then they'll start going, I just wish we had so-and-so playing. And you'd be like,
oh.
yeah, and you're just thinking, please don't ask me anymore.
How far can you black it? We'll change the subject.
I used to do that with work.
Yeah.
You know, like when they used to say, you've used this spreadsheet before, haven't you? And I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, it's not all
And then they'd go, right, okay, well, I'll just leave you to it. I'll go, what? See, this one's a bit different than the one I used before. Is it? Just typing it in there. Is it? And then I basically see the full word for me.
Yeah. Thought so. Yeah.
You know, until I'd blagged it all.
Yeah.
Blagging life.
Yeah, it's good that people say, oh, have you seen this? Have you heard of so-and-so? Do you know who that is? I used to always be like, oh, yeah, even if I didn't. For some reason, people pleasing. But I am trying to get better now at being like, no,
yeah, no,
there's nothing wrong. No, tell me. Like,
I know, I've done that loads.
Yeah.
Do that all. People do it, but to me, still no, you know, with comedy. They'll mention a comic and I'll go, oh yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, it's a woman. She identifies.
You assumed third gender.
I was like, yeah. Yeah.
Still getting used to all this. Yeah.
I know, I am getting used to it as well, to be honest with you. Not that there's anything wrong with what anyone wants to do with themselves.
No.
That is entirely up to them, but I do find it fucking... I do.
Yeah, you don't have to like understand it to accommodate it if you think.
I just feel sorry for the older generation.
Yeah,
I think our generation's like more like laid back to it. We can sort of like we can deal with it.
Yeah,
and learn to customize.
Yeah, and the next generation it gets better and easier, and that's how it works, isn't it?
But the older generation,
yeah, you can't go mad at them for it because they spent 96 years
being racist.
Something different. Yeah, being racist. Yeah.
Spent 96 years thinking that they deserve to sit down on the bus still.
Yeah. Maybe that's Trump's problem, isn't it?
Yeah. And maybe it is. Maybe that is Donald Trump's problem. He's just stuck in his ways. I
love that though when he's talking, like he's just got no idea, has he?
Oh,
and he's like, and I really struggled, when I first started a business, I had to take, I started with a small loan of $1 million. And you're like, fucking hell. And then you went bankrupt. Like, how do you manage that?
Yeah, it's like, I laugh at like, the most racist people are always the people who will say like, I'm not racist, but.
I'm not racist, but.
Yeah.
It's the same as, I'm sorry, I am sorry, but. Like, all right,
I watched a program the other day and it was about a killer.
Right.
On Netflix, serial killer was in jail. It was like,
is it I'm a Killer, the series?
I don't know if it was I'm a Killer. They interviewed them in the jail, and it was a guy who killed a black guy, white guy who killed a black guy, and he said, like they said something about
was he a policeman by any chance?
No, he wasn't a policeman. No, funnily enough, yeah, and he said something about. They asked him the question, like, are you a racist? And he went, damn right I'm a racist. He was like, I hate, and he was, and I was like, whoa, like, it's the first time I've ever heard anyone say, because a lot of the time
actually admitting to it.
Yeah, like a lot of the time people, especially over here, if they say, oh, you're racist or something, they'd go, no, I'm not racist. But I just think, and you're like, well, you're technically saying some of that is a bit bad there. But when someone, what's the answer to that when you say to someone, like, what would you do how would you confront that? If someone said
to me,
if you said, if you were talking to someone, I know this is putting this right on you now, shitting yourself for this.
I'm get cancelled now.
How would you answer that if someone said something to you, right, and you thought, "Oof, that was a bit racist what you've just done there," whether it was about anything, and you said to them, "That was a bit racist," that, and they turned around and they said to you, "Damn right, I'm a racist. Yeah, what are you going to do about it?" What would you say?
Well, I imagine it can't be any of my like really close mates because I'm not friends with anyone who's racist. So it'd have to be someone I was like, apart from this guy. Apart from Chinese Alan. Is that Gavin and Stacey? Yeah, I think I'd be like, all right, well, I think...
What would you do?
I
Would you just end the
I'd feel
conversation?
awkward, and I would wind up the conversation and think, all right, I think we're on different sides of the table here, pal. Like, I'll let you crack on, or something like that. I don't know. Or I'd like, I'm thinking of the word devil's advocate, but when it comes to racism, I don't think you can be a devil's advocate. I think you just got to stay the other side, haven't you? So I would have, depending on what you'd said that was racist, I'd be like sticking up for the other side.
Yeah.
Would
Would you?
crack on.
Are you confrontational? So
Depends, like not massively, but if I'm driving,
Yeah.
if like, I don't know, if people that can't drive just really,
like I'm saying, would you avoid it? Would you just avoid it, or do you reckon you'd have to say your bit?
I don't know. If they're so out and out saying that they're racist, they're probably ready for a fight, aren't they? They're probably looking for
ready to
it,
stab you.
Yeah, so I'd be a bit.
That's people's problems on the internet, though, as well, isn't it? There's so many people on the internet who seem to think they can just say anything to anyone.
Yeah. Freedom of speech doesn't mean you have to say everything.
There's gonna come a time. Tell you a story when I was younger with me mate. We were on a webcam. We were like 15,
Oh yeah,
and there was a couple of girls on the webcam. We were only 15-year-old.
yeah.
They were talking to us, and they were from Newcastle, and there were some lads on there going, "Way, that's us." 2 years later, we bumped into them.
Well, the lads.
Yeah.
How do you know it was them?
Because
Just recognise them.
we got talking to one of them, and I was like, "You stuck your finger up at me on a webcam years ago," and he was like,
I'm really sorry.
and John stabbed him.
Oh, right, yeah. Dead now.
And killed him. No, I didn't. It always comes back. It can always come back on you, whether you're a troll. Oh, trolls are the worst. We always talk about trolls.
Yeah,
I couldn't think of anything worse, you know. You know, if I went to a restaurant and I thought the food was shit,
yeah.
I'd never think, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get home and I'm going to write a bad review on
1
these.
star.
Yeah, I just think, just don't go again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just don't go again.
I think with trolls, I would love to, if someone's like been a troll to you and you're able to just be outside the house and ring the doorbell or knock on the door and just be like, hey,
Yeah.
I think I'd quite enjoy that, I think.
There was a guy trolled my page before when I was first like getting quite a few followers. And I just out of curiosity, because it doesn't matter how many likes or how many good things happen.
Yeah.
Because I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Even if when my video went viral with a woman going to punch me, like everyone's seen that video, like just about everyone, not everyone in the world, but like
I still haven't seen it, you know.
yeah, I'll show you it. But there was a lot of like comments, so there was like 10,000 comments on one of them, which had millions of views, and like for 10,000 comments, I reckon there was 1,000 negative ones,
Right.
and some of them were like, "Can this comedian do comedy without swearing?" And like, you know, like, and like. But then there was a lot of people defending me without me even getting involved, saying it's 2020 and all that.
Yeah.
And like, but then they still annoy you. You know, as much as you can get the best comments in the world. I was talking to Corinne about this, saying, I wonder if like Kim Kardashian, someone like that, you know, like she puts a picture up.
Yeah.
She's got all these women calling her beautiful. She's got all these men calling her beautiful. And then I wonder if like that little geek in his room who comments saying pig ugly, I wonder if it annoys her. I wonder if she's got thick enough skin now.
Yeah.
Or do you think it's still deep down, if she sees it, she thinks, who the fuck are you? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I wonder if, because it does with anyone. I can anyone who's slightly famous, or I know some quite biggish names now who've got big followers, and they all say it does their head in.
Yeah.
It still gets to you.
Oh, and Alex came on. He had his first troll, didn't he? He said he was thinking about it for ages. But I don't know, because you're putting yourself out there. You're vulnerable. Everything's on your shoulders. You're not representing anyone, so you can't help but take it personally. But there is that saying as well that you're not successful unless you've got people that love you and people that hate you.
Oh, definitely. I had a troll before I came on, and just out of curiosity, I clicked on his profile, and when I clicked on it, usually it'd be like, I don't know, Isla White or something like that, and they'd be like, they wouldn't know me.
Yeah.
But it said Stockton-on-Tees, and I was like, 48 mutual friends. You know, like I'm a normal personal page, and I was like, cheeky bastard, cheeky bastard. I was fuming, so I'd messaged about 5 of the mutual friends saying, "Who is this fucking divvy?" Right. And they're like,
I need name,
and they're like,
address,
oh,
list of fears.
he'll just been wrecked, mate. Like, he's not like that. And I was
Yeah.
like, is it now? So I messaged him privately. You know, when I first started, I was like, what the fuck is this all about? And he was like, oh, it's only a crack, mate. I was
I'm
like,
really sorry.
he woke up on a come down. I was ready to punch his fucking head in. I was absolutely fuming. Fuck's he like? He put something like Fanny or something. Just all I said was Fanny. I was like, fucking cheeky bastard. Who the fuck's he
Just
thinking?
sulking in bed, like.
Oh, I was raging, absolutely. But you've got to deal with it. You know what I mean? Now I just think, you know what? So fuck.
Yeah.
You know, like if someone says something, oh, so fuck. Like sticks and stones, innit? That's what
Yeah,
you've genuinely
that's
got to think like that, haven't you?
Yeah, I think with people though, like struggling with mental health and stuff, and there being this kind of like everyone showing the best lives on social media and not really showing what it's really like, I think trolls can get to people more because it's just another kick, just
thing-
another negative experience.
People
isn't it?
don't see people. People don't. You can't comment on someone until you've met them.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely think, unless they are a convicted killer who's definitely guilty, or a convicted paedophile, someone like that. But you can't comment on people, especially celebrities as well.
Yeah.
You can't, because they might be the nicest people you'll ever meet. And the person who you think's the nicest person you'll ever meet might be the biggest dick you'll ever meet.
Often the way, innit? Never meet your heroes.
I bumped into an old lady the other day. And she was talking to me. Yeah. Bumped into an old lady, and she said to me when I got talking to her, and she said to me like, "Oh, you do the comedy?" And I said, "Yeah." She was like, "Oh, you're not one of them comics?" And she was like, "Well, I was having a laugh with her, having just a bit of crack with her." And she said, "Oh, you're not one of them comics who swears. I don't like them ones." And I was thinking, "Fucking hell." I was like, "Oh, you won't like me, but I'm trying not to.
Yeah.
I'm trying my best." She's like, "Well, just be yourself, love." And I'm thinking, "Please don't look me up when I've gone." Do
Would you like a humbug before you go?
So like, and I'm thinking like, but she's met me as me there.
Yeah.
She's met me as like a nice person, and then she'll probably click on a video. They'll be like, "I was out the other day. This cunt came over, right?
Stunk of piss.
What is it about not being able to say the word cunt these days?"
Yeah. Bloody old people at the doctors.
But I am
Let it cry.
since I've been perfecting my comedy better. My swearing has went slowly
Yeah.
down. I only use it for effectiveness now.
Just to punctuate the jokes.
Yeah.
Speaking of gigs and jokes, you got out coming up. You get Billingham go on sale. That's nearly. Is that all sold out now? Is it
All the
can't
early
far
birds
off?
tickets are sold out.
Mint.
So second release come out soon.
Yep.
So the link will be on here. That's for March the 17th. I've got a gig coming up in Middlesbrough
I
next
shall
week.
be there. Yep.
Middlesbrough, just a little gig at Food Court Cocktails next week.
Where's that at? Sorry,
Food Court Cocktails. It's like
the new one.
It's one I've been doing like monthly. It's just like a little daft 40-seater.
Jump in. Good for you.
Yeah, I just MC it, and a few pros go on
I've
it.
been there. You know. I'll have to-
Come down anytime
Yeah,
you want. And then also next week I'm in London, my Backyard Comedy Club.
Yeah.
Over that way, so I'll be having a little trip to London, and then I'm in Liverpool on Friday, and then the following Monday I'm in Hot Water Comedy Club. So I'll be about the next few weeks.
Sounds
So
good.
what
Like
about
I say,
yourself?
Have to get some. Get a couple of to come down. I'll come down with you and film some bits for you. if you want. That'd
Cool.
be Good crack.
What are you doing yourself?
Well, the brewery, we're just trying to get the beers sorted now, ready to restock the first beer that we did, and looking to rebrew the lager as well. And then I've like on my shelf over there, I've got rum and gin, good to go. We've got vodka that's coming up soon. Just labels should be done this week, and then new product launch. Going to do some PR and advertising and stuff like that. And in the meantime, filming loads of shit and doing podcasts. And don't know. I feel like I've got, instead of having like one job or career, I've got like 10.
Do you like it though?
Little. There's pros and cons, definitely. I like it because it's interesting, and with, as you know, with ADHD, like getting hyper focused on something, I'll just flip between like, I really want to do this now and sack everything else off, and it's about managing that. But like I said, with all the like fatigue and stuff I get, it's nice to be able to go at my own pace and do little bits, but I'd like it to be a bit more regular, I think.
Yeah.
So that's the goal for this year, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like last year, but on crack.
My life
I
is.
imagine.
I'm like a crackhead without crack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just take random naps in people's houses.
People's houses? Do you know them?
No, just turn up. I love a nap. When I get a nap, I love a nap.
I had a nap yesterday on that very sofa.
Did you? What time?
I had about an hour, about 2 o'clock maybe.
They say the best for a nap is under half an hour, don't they? They say because you go into a deep sleep if you
Yeah.
go over half an hour.
It's like REM slim.
Yeah,
REM
yeah.
slim? REM
Is
sleep.
that a new Slim Shady?
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I quite fancy having an Apple Watch.
Yeah,
Because I think you can get it with other stuff, and there's probably easier and cheaper ways of doing it. I just know that Apple Watches do it, but where it tracks how much sleep you've had and then what quality sleep it's been with you, and stuff like that interests me. Yeah, I think it'd be quite interesting to see. Yeah. Good shit. Well, I think we're coming to a natural conclusion for today's episode.
I'm just thinking
James
about
Killerton.
chilling and going to sleep now.
Yeah, well,
That's
it
it.
pulls out into a bed that if you want to just get a few
With you.
winks. Well, obviously. Have
There
a
you
cuddle,
go.
have a little spoon.
There you go. As long as you wear these.
I can't grab
And
it.
I'll wear these.
What would be called again?
Prosy Throttlers.
Prosy Throttlers, that's it. Love it. Class.
That should be the name for them.
Yep.
Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed watching it and you've enjoyed listening, thank you for listening too. And subscribe at the bottom,
Please.
please. We really like that.
Yeah.
And leave a nice comment. Leave a comment on what you'd like us to talk about as well in the future. Or if you'd want a little shout out, send a message to our page, or send a message to Liam's page, or myself, James Kilverton Comedy. Do you know what I mean? Podcast, Liam Senior. Thank you.